And so, you know, it's really interesting to think about how it is that my relationships with other people are. What is it that people are perceiving from me? So then I have nothing to worry about the future, nothing to worry about whether people will be there or not. There will always be people because they will want to be with me. They will want to serve me. So that's the aspect of relationship. So never worry about your relationship if you're dealing with your relationships in the right way right now. And then money. It's such a, what's the word I'm looking for? The money is, you know, it can slip out of our hands so quickly, or we can lose it. The world is full of so much pain and sorrow and suffering and deception and cheat and all of this. So we worry whether we will have money. And so how can you ensure that you have enough? Again, you know, in India we have a saying, just because, or that, you know, if you have a little and you think you have a lot, there's no one as rich as you. And if you have a lot and you think you have nothing or you have little, then there's no one as poor as you. Now just think about that psychology for a moment. If you have a lot, but you don't think you have enough, you're miserly. You're miserly with yourself, you're miserly with others, you never have any to give for charity, but you're always worried about how to hold on to what you have. You're occupied in just making it stay. That's when, you know, you might as well be sick, because you have it, but you're not able to enjoy it. You're not able to share it with other people. And so again, we come back to this thing, what am I doing with what I have at the present moment in time? You know, money is also an energy. It's just another form of energy. It's nothing physical. You know, if you have it and you use it, then you know that it will grow. If you use it to serve others, if you use it to nourish others spiritually, if you use it to support other people, it's not possible that you will run out. You know, so many examples I've heard. Jabin mentioned Dadi Janki, and our elders. Dadi Janki was the head of the Brahma Kumaris and recently passed away. And yes, it's true, I had amazing fortune to spend time with her. And she would always say, you know, she would get something, she receives it in one hand, she gives away in the other hand. But more and more comes. She would always say, as part of our work, our spiritual work, she would say, you know, the retreat center that I have been at for the last 27 years, currently it's being renovated, and so we're not living there. It's an 18th century Palladian villa with 70 bedrooms and 6-7 staterooms and other meeting rooms and dining rooms and so on. It can accommodate 100 people, you know, massive place. But Daddy Janky, we would always constantly be doing things in terms of service, but keeping the freshness of the energy. But, you know, all of those years, she never once asked me, why did you do that? Why did you spend money on that? How much was that? Or, oh, that was too expensive. Or don't buy this, or don't buy that. Or don't. Never once in all those years, I remember that she ever asked me why I spent money on something. Why did I change this piece of furniture? Why did we decide to get this and not that? Or never. And so all of us who were living there, 25, 30 of us, in fact, she would say more important to preserve people's energy, because right now our energies are more important to stay positive, to stay easy, to stay relaxed, and people should have time. People shouldn't be, you know, spending time doing physical work to such an extent that encroaches upon their personal time, that time for spiritual study or their time to meditate. She would say, if you need a piece of equipment, buy the piece of equipment so that people's lives are easier. They can spend time. What's really needed now is our spiritual is the spiritual energy. And so to be able to generate that, and, we have a building that was constructed nearly 30 years ago, Global Corporation House. It was the first building outside of India that the Brahma Kumaris constructed. We didn't have the money to pay the architects that were needed when the plans were being made. We got the land for a very small amount of money, but when it came to building it, we didn't have the money. And believe it or not, in the end, we decided to go ahead, and we made all the arrangements officially to get a loan or whatever else. But can you believe it? £4 million project. We never needed to take loan. Why? Because just the money that was needed would come when it was needed, in the way that it was needed. And so we as an organization, even we don't have the policy of investing money or hoarding money or keeping money, Daddy would always say, money comes, use it for service. That's what it's for. Use it to serve other people. And then, the Brahma Kumaris work from very small places. London in 1974, one or two other places. Now there are centers in 120 different countries from around the world. Not because we're a rich organization, but we recognize that money is just an energy, and it needs to move. It needs to flow. It needs to do something. And then we don't have to worry about money. Even today, the house is being constructed, but we don't have the money to do what we have to do right now. But as time goes on, we know that money will come. What's more important is service, not the money. And how much can I employ that philosophy in my own personal life? Do I employ that philosophy, or do I try to hold on to? And what happens when you held on to energy? It's just not possible. It's like water. It will just flow out of your hand. And, when I try to hold on to it, my greed comes up, my attachment comes up, my ego comes up. And it's, what is it that causes me pain generally in my life? It's not these things. It's not the lack of it or more of it. It's my attachment and my possessiveness and my ego with it. And so it's this thing about, the other day we had in our lesson, it's more important to mold yourself according to the situation. And so someone asked a question to me in our early morning meditation and class, that, so how much do you mold yourself? And this could apply to anything: situations, circumstances, relationships, whatever. How do you mold yourself? How much do you mold yourself, and how much you become aware that you don't become you're not becoming a subordinate of someone else. And it was interesting because I thought, well, if I feel I'm becoming subordinate, you don't become subordinate just to someone who's weaker than you. You can, or someone who's not weaker than you, not just someone who is abusive or negative. You can also become a subordinate to someone who is very powerful. So is it the other person, or is it my own state of mind that becomes subordinate? So it's me having to address how it is that I'm perceiving someone or something that's happening outside of me, instead of looking at that which is happening and thinking that that is what needs to change. Actually, my relationship with it needs to change rather than the situation itself. So it's an interesting thing. So in money, if I use it to benefit others, I know absolutely that I will never go without. I will never not have enough to eat. I will never not have a roof over my head. Now, I can say, well, I need a 5-course meal every meal or every day, or I can just say, I can have just bread and soup, or I can have a dry chapati and dal, whatever it is but I will have enough. So what is my attachment to? Is my attachment to money, or is my attachment to the way in which I want to have things? If I worry about that, I'm not enjoying what I have now. I'm not sharing with what I have with others, and my future will also become stifled. So this aspect of stifling things is very interesting. You can stifle relationships, you can stifle money, you can stifle the energy of money, you can stifle even your own self. And then, of course, there are situations and circumstances. You know, my latest realization, if you like, and this, I think, if this doesn't free us from fear, I don't know what will free us from fear. I'm seeing that everything that happens, everything in our world is benevolent. The seed of everything that is happening is the seed of benevolence, because God is the seed of the human world tree. If God is the seed of the human world tree, then everything that's happening, and God doesn't sit there blaming anything, accusing anything, condemning anything. What is God's role in our lives today, in our world today? To just provide the space, provide the energy, provide the truth, provide the purity, provide the love. And as such, when you think about it, actually, everything is benevolent. Nature and elements are benevolent. Situations, and even the negative situations, are benevolent situations. And the reason why they're benevolent is because, if nothing else, they're making me strong. If nothing else, they're teaching me a lesson. They're teaching me something. But am I prepared to see those lessons? Am I prepared to grow from these situations and circumstances? Or am I so locked inside of them that those situations just become a trap for me? But I think, you know, look at Earth. You think about the 5 physical elements. 5 physical elements are, you know, earth, water, fire, air, and ether. All of these elements are there to serve us. Okay, so if it rains too much, if there's earthquake, all of these things cause damage. But why has it got to that point? It's got to that point because of the imbalance that we as human beings have created. However, it's because that it's got to that point that it's got to change again and go back to its original state. Everything has to go back to the beginning. We have to go back to the beginning. And my sense that this is where we're heading now. Look at this lockdown. Look at this coronavirus. Every single country in the world is on the same page. Yes, you can see what's economy is going to be affected and all of this. Right now, our own minds, we are beginning to do things. We're learning to recognize energy. We're learning to do things that we've never done before. We are learning to recognize the power of quieting down. Would Jabin have ever asked me to come and do this if you weren't experiencing lockdown, if we were not realizing that we need to harvest these opportunities that we have to connect with each other from around the world, whoever they are. I don't think Jabin and I have ever met physically before, but somewhere she's heard about me and she's got in touch with me. Many of you have never heard about me, but here we are. We are sharing purely because of COVID-19, I think, nothing else. And so really, but if you change your vision, if you change your attitude to that of benevolence towards what's happening, you will find that your own benevolence will emerge too, because ultimately the spirit, the human spirit, is benevolent. The human spirit is that which is constantly serving, because we are this constant thinking, constant living energy. And as such, this energy we're constantly emanating, we're constantly sharing, we're constantly giving. And because we're doing that, we are benevolent. However, what we have to become conscious of is, what is it that we're benevolent of or with? Or in what way are we sharing? Are we sharing the negativity that's filled inside of us? Or are we now beginning to realize this incredible potential that's hidden within us, and we are sharing that? What is it that we're being benevolent with? And I think that now we begin to realize that our potential for benevolence is huge, enormous, unlimited, vast. And so really, it's using the opportunities, using what we have in the way that so that we are able to harvest all opportunities that come our way. And there's nothing but benefit, nothing but benevolence within all of that.